We are back for NFL Week 9 action. Let's talk a little pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we are back for some NFL action in Week 9. No London game. How awesome is that? But anyways, if you watched this video last week, we went 3-0, hit a couple one-unit plays. Let's do it again this weekend. Went 8-2 last Sunday. So let's just never lose a bet. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? But Thursday Night Football is going on right now as of recording, so there's no recap for that yet. We'll do that in the player props video. And speaking of that, if you're looking for player props or anytime touchdowns, that video will be out Friday. And then NBA best bets video for the Friday slate will be out later tonight as well. So before we get into anything, quick reminder on this awesome FanDuel promo. It is ending soon. It's for new customers only. Buy $5. Bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win the bet. So just place a super safe $5 bet on a favorite. You get a huge $300 in bonus bets right into your account. You got to love that. So click the link below in the description. It acts like a promo code for the deal. It's an awesome promo right now. I know it's not lasting long. They're going to have another one here probably in a couple weeks, but you got to take advantage of it. Again, it's for new customers on FanDuel. So, of course, you must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's get back into it, and it is time for a little dad joke. So here we go. My wife asked if I've ever seen the dog bowl. I said, no, I never knew he did. In this video, we're going to talk Week 9 trends. That's right, I got 3 pages of those again. The Week 9 leans, and then I'm going to give you my best bets and the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Come join this awesome community we have here. I'm ready to talk some football, and that starts with the trends. All right, here we go. This is page 1 of the Week 9 trends. Favorites, 11-2 against the spread in Week 8. Best win percentage since December of 1985. That's crazy. That was -1. Since Week 6, favorites, 33-10 straight up, 83-37-1 against the spread this season. Not too shabby. This is the best win percentage for favorites through 8 weeks since 2013. This could be the first week since 2021 where we have 5 totals of 50 or higher. Overs are 43-29-1 overall since week 4. Teams after playing the New York Jets are 0-7 against the spread the following game, 18-37 against the spread over the last 4 seasons. What that means is you play terrible competition, you're not ready for the next game. That's what it's saying. But Drake May has over 2,000 passing yards and over a 75% completion percentage through 8 games. The only other quarterbacks to do that through 8 games is Drew Brees. It's only one quarterback. I mean, pretty good company there. Dak, 29-15-1 straight up, 26-18-1 against the spread in night games, and then 14-7 against the spread since 2021. That's the second best in the NFL. Caleb Williams continues to be inaccurate with a completion percentage above expectation at -7.1%, worst mark in the NFL. Again, some of these stats will not help you with your betting. It's just some info I like to give out. But the Bears own the best turnover differential at +10, but also have the second most penalties in the NFC. So that's all we got for page 1. Let's take a look at page 2 now. Jared Goff, 7-3 straight up, 8-2 against the spread versus the Vikings in his career. His second most profitable opponent against the spread. When Detroit plays a home game with a total below 50, they are 18-8 to the over. Packers just 2-5 this season to their first half team total over, but they've scored a ton in the second half. In fact, the last 4 games, 28, 21, 17, and 27. They make some halftime adjustments. Packers next week play on Monday Night Football. Since 2019, teams with Monday Night Football on deck are 119, 86-1 against the spread over 500 in 6 of the last 7 seasons. So what's that saying? Teams aren't actually looking ahead to Monday Night Football. They are focused on the week before that. Tennessee, my goodness, 13-35-2 against the spread in the last 50 games. That is the worst 50-game stretch since the 2016 Tennessee Titans. They've lost 11 consecutive home games against the spread. That is hard to do. I'm just going to say it. Since 2018, teams that are on a 4+ game straight up against the spread win streak that didn't make the playoffs the previous year, they are 15-27-1 against the spread, 2-15-1 against the spread since 2022. That is absolutely insane. And we're talking about New England there. But Patriots are the first team since the 1970 merger to not allow a running back to not eclipse 50 rush yards in the first 8 games. That is incredible. I'm not going to lie. Christian McCaffrey, 6-1 to the over as receiving yards. That's a random player prop stat. Just want to throw it out there. Let's move on to page 3 now, the final one. The Giants have allowed 20-plus points in 10 straight road games, 38 and 33 the last two games. I don't believe they're at home, though. But anyway, since the start of last season, the 49ers are 7 and 18 against the third quarter spread. We've talked about this before. They struggle coming out of halftime. And this year, 1 and 7 on the third quarter spread. If you fade them on the third quarter spread, you've been making a lot of money this year. San Fran also just 5 and 20 against the second half spread since the start of last season. That's ugly. Last week, Jonathan Taylor closed at minus 425 for a touchdown, the highest odds in the last 5 years. That means nothing. Just a cool stat you can tell your buddies. Colts, not just 7-1 straight up, they are 6-2 against the spread, covering by 10.9 points per game, the best mark for any team through 8 weeks since the 2019 49ers. And then Steelers have lost 5 straight home games after trailing entering the fourth quarter. Bo Nix, 10-4 against the spread as a favorite, but 5-7 against the spread as an underdog. If you put Bo Nix and the Broncos in a 6-point teaser every single game he started, you are 23-6. Since 2009, the Raiders became the 10th team to be shut out heading into their bye week. 8 of the other 9 teams saw their next game go under the total. Saints 1-7 against the first quarter spread this season. Just another little trend right there where you can just maybe blindly fade the Saints. But Mahomes 1-4 straight up and 1-4 against the spread versus Josh Allen in the regular season, losing 4 in a row now. Again, the key words there are in the regular season. Allen has faced a defense that's allowing less than 20 points per game 28 times in his career. How has he done against those good defenses? Well, 23-5 straight up, 22-5-1 against the spread. That's a lot of info, a lot of numbers, but that's what we got for the Week 9 trends. Now let's talk some leans. All right, here we go. I want to talk through some games before we get to the best bets because, again, you might see 1 or 2 of these added to the card as well. But this first one, the Falcons and the Patriots, I like the Falcons +6. This is kind of a mixture of a buy low spot for Atlanta and a sell high spot for New England. Patriots have looked really good lately. No denying it. Drake May's looked great. But let's talk about their 5 wins this year. The Browns, the Titans, the Saints, the Dolphins, and the Bills. So yes, 1 solid win in there with the Bills and 4 absolutely horrendous teams, 4 of the worst teams. Throw in the Raiders there, and you have probably the 5 worst teams in the NFL. But the Bills win was impressive, but it did help that the Bills had 3 turnovers. Bills still out-yarded them with 363 yards. I think New England had like 330 or something. Again, they played well. I'm not going to say they didn't, but I haven't seen consistency versus good teams. Now, when we say good teams, obviously the Falcons looked absolutely horrendous versus Miami last week. But again, and even though this is a tough team to figure out, this is why it's a lean. It's not a best bet, but I'm kind of throwing it out. They had Kirk Cousins at quarterback, guys. He hasn't played in a while. He's getting older. He was awful. Drake London, their number 1 receiver, was out. Miami stacked the box and just tried to stop Bijan. So again, Penix and London look like they're going to be good to go and coming back this weekend. So you can't really judge it on your backup quarterback and losing your number 1 receiver before the game as well. But Falcons defense, still a top 3 pass defense in the league. We did lose 2 his passing yards under just barely. He had like 204, just some lucky blown coverages that they don't usually do. But the really key here is they need to limit Drake May's explosive plays because he can beat you down the field, which is really the strength of the Falcons pass defense. So it's going to be strength on strength there. And then Patriots defense, we know it's an elite run defense. Not one running back has hit 50 yards yet, like we mentioned, or over 50 yards. Best running back versus the top 3 run defense should be a good matchup here. It's a lot of strength on strength in this matchup. So I just think this is a lot of points here. So I would lean the Falcons +6. Second one, Broncos team total under 20.5. Now, under 20.5 is -135. If you do take this, you could go to 19.5, which is a little bit, closer to even money and standard juice, but 20 is a key number. That's why, I would only bet this at 20.5. That's why I put it there. But this is a tough matchup for Denver's offense. So Denver's offense, remember, they scored a few weeks ago, 13 on the Jets. Against the Giants, you look at the scoreboard, wow, they put up 33 points, whatever it was. They had 1 good quarter. 1. They were stymied all game long. It was just a weird quarter. Then they were steamrolled they steamrolled a bottom 3 Cowboys defense. Yeah, so I mean, again, you can count it, but it's still the Cowboys defense. They haven't seen many good defenses this year, and now they face the Houston Texans. There's no defense that is better in regards to giving up points. They have allowed the fewest points per game at only 14.7. Only 1 team actually has even scored more than 20 versus Houston. It was the Seattle Seahawks. The Texans held the Seahawks scoreless in 2 of those 4 quarters also. They are 1st in total yards allowed, 4th in passing yards allowed, 5th in rushing yards allowed. That's right. We're talking top 5 in both. 3rd best third down defense, allowing the 5th fewest red zone attempts per game at just 2.4. So it's tough to even get in the red zone. So really, this is a defense that does not have many weaknesses. I think we see Nix, who's been really inconsistent this year, and this run game just struggle. And I think they, especially under 20 and a half, I don't see them getting under 20, or I don't see them getting over 20 and a half in this one. So next one. It's a different one. You find it under game props in the on DraftKings. I almost went with the Giants team total on their own at over 22 and a half, or 23 and a half. But I like this one. Giants and the 49ers, both teams to score 20 or more points. There's like minus 113, I think I saw. Giants team total set at 23 and a half, Niners at 25 and a half. So you're practically just taking both teams over 19 and a half here. But Giants offense, the thing that worries me is Scattaboo. Obviously getting hurt. He's a big part of this offense. He was really helping out. I think Tyrone Tracy's going to be fine, but the Giants offense has been playing well. They scored 34 versus Philly, 32 against the Broncos, and then they were held to 20 versus Philly. That was like the second time in 3 weeks that they played them. I like Dart to have a good game. We'll talk about why. This defense of the 49ers is ravaged with injuries. On top of losing Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, now D-tackle Bryce Huff is likely out. This is already a defense that gets absolutely no pressure on the quarterback. I mean none. Lowest pressure quarterback, or lowest pressure percentage in the NFL, 10.8% pressure on the quarterbacks. That is only 10.8% more pressure on quarterbacks than I get. That's just wild. It's like watching the Pro Bowl. No one gets to them. Only 9 sacks in 8 games. That's mind-boggling. That's just going to be music to the ears of rookie Jackson Dart. Texans just went up and down the field on the 49ers. Yes, they scored 26. Should have been 40. They had 475 total yards. Just struggled in the red zone. I mean, when you're giving up almost 500 yards to the Texans, there is problems. 49ers offense, now for them to score 20. They've scored 20 or more in 4 of 8 games. Been battling a lot of injuries offensively as well. Brock Purdy looks like he's going to return. And Giants have the worst run defense in the NFL. Run CMC should have a solid game here. 49ers have been using George Kittle a little bit more for blocking, and they've all just raved about how much it's helped their run game, as you've seen. So I think he's going to have a good game on the ground. I don't see an issue against this Giants team. This Giants defense, they've given up 20 or more points in 3 of the last 4, 38 and 33 the last 2 games. Bottom 10 in passing, bottom 10 in rushing yards allowed, average on third down, 6th worst red zone defense. I mean, it's just not been good. I like both teams' chances to get 20-plus points in this game. The last one, Sunday Night Football. We got to talk about this one. And I may add this one to the card, but it's the Seahawks. I know, I'm a Seahawks fan. I get it. But Seahawks -3. First of all, the big question here is Jaden Daniels or Marcus Mariota. Who will be the quarterback? So that's why I haven't made a bet yet on this. But let's talk the Seahawks. I have mentioned it many times before. This is the absolutely elite of the elite NFL teams on the road. 3-0 straight up on the road this year, 7-1 on the road last year. They have won 10 of their last 11 road games. McDonald has done something when he came in as the head coach and has them ready to play on the road. They're 7-3-1 against the spread on the road in that span as well. This defense has only given up more than 20 points one time. They get pressure on the quarterback consistently. They're the #1 run defense in the NFL now, allowing just 3.3 yards per carry. This is going to cause problems for whoever the quarterback is. And then Commanders. Other than not knowing who the quarterback is, how about Terry McLaurin, your #1 receiver, out this week? Their best offensive lineman, or one of the 2 best, Laramie Tunsil, is also questionable to play. This team has struggled with inconsistency all year. They're coming off 3 straight losses. Lost to the Cowboys by 22, lost to the Chiefs by 28, I think it was, maybe 21. Defense has been an issue. They've given up 97 points in the last 3 weeks, struggling both versus the run and the pass. And now they're facing Sam Darnold, who, like I've mentioned before, he's playing at an MVP-type level. Unbelievable efficiency, and he's got the #1 receiver in the NFL at JSN. Again, I'm just going off stats. He's the #1 receiver. In fact, he is on pace to come close to Calvin Johnson's all-time receiving yards record in a season. It's just wild to me. So overall, Seahawks are just flat out the better team. I may add to this to the card. I want to kind of see some injuries and how they fall, but I was kind of hoping to wait to see if I get under 3 possibly, but I'm not sure if I'll get there. But that's what I got for my 4 leans, and now it is time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to Los Angeles where the Rams host the New Orleans Saints. Rams -14, total is 44. This game's ugly. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't even recommend watching it, but I got to bet. Half unit play. Give me the under 44 at -110 on BetMGM. Let's first start out with the Saints. They are absolutely horrendous on offense. They are changing their quarterback to rookie Tyler Shuck. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He's a downgrade from Spencer Rattler. That's saying something. He didn't look good in the preseason. This O-line has really been struggling to protect lately. Not good versus this Rams pass rush. They're also struggling to open up holes in the run game. Kamara last 3 weeks, 27 carries for a total of 80 rush yards. Saints team total is set at 14.5. Think about that. There's a reason. They've scored 17 total points in the last 2 weeks versus the Bears and the Bucks. Now they face a much tougher defense here. And then the Saints defense, they haven't been that bad, honestly. And that's why I kind of like this under. They've actually given up 26 or less points in 4 straight games now, so it's not like they're getting, routed. Shut down the Bucks offense in that first half last week. They're 9th in passing yards allowed, 12th best third down defense, 11th best red zone defense. I mean, these are pretty decent numbers here. Again, I'm not sitting here saying they're a top 5, top 7 defense, but they've actually played better than what you think they would. Let's talk the Rams now. We've mentioned it many times. This offense struggles to score in the red zone. Saints have also been solid defending the red zone, like we talked about. Rams a little bit better last couple games, but still 17th in red zone touchdown percentage. They should get Puka back in this one, but again, if this game gets out of hand, he's not going to play much late in the game, and that's also why I like this game. I expect the Rams to play conservatively, especially if you keep saying the Saints go 3 and out, and they're up 14-0. They have no reason to just pile it on over and over. I could see a 24-7 type of game late as they run out the clock, and that should get us there. But Rams pass rush, it's going to be a tough one for the rookie. 8th highest pressure rate, 2nd most sacks in the NFL. So overall, I just think the Saints are going to struggle to move the ball on the ground or through the air. I just got to worry about the rookie quarterback making bad turnovers and pick sixes and things that just make the scoreboard go up and up and up. But Saints defense, I think they're decent enough to slow down the Rams here. And even the Rams, if they score 30, this could easily be 30-10, and we cash the under. So give me the under 44 as my first best bet. All right, we've won a few in a row of these. Let's stay hot. Alternate team total parlay, minus 119 on DraftKings. 1 unit play for me here. Colts team total over 22.5. Lions team total over 23.5. 2 top offenses. We're just riding with it. So Colts team total over 22.5. We cashed their alt line at like 25.5 last week. This is the number 1 offense in the NFL. We've talked about it before. They will demoralize you on the ground and then beat you over the top with play action and Daniel Jones, because Jones is playing some great football behind a really solid offensive line. It helps to have the best running game in the league. But more numbers. This team is averaging just about 34 points per game. Daniel Jones is the quarterback of a team averaging 34. That's the world we live in now. They've scored a touchdown on 68% of the red zone drives. They are the 4th best third down offense in the league. And whenever I look at these team totals, red zone and third down, those are key to me. If you're struggling on both, it's going to be hard to score points. They've scored 29-plus points in 7 of 8 games. That's right, almost 30 in 7 of 8 games. They're only under, well, again, I've said it before, against the Rams. When Adonai Mitchell dropped the ball crossing the goal line for no reason, they ended with 20, should have been 27. Scoring 23 points, I don't think it's going to be that hard versus the Steelers' defense. The defense has given up 25 points per game this year. Their secondary just looks awful. They are just bad all around. Dead last in passing yards allowed per game at 273.3. That's 15 more than any other team in the NFL. They're giving up 7 yards per pass attempt. And then on the ground, they've been average at giving up 4.3 yards per rush attempt. You don't want to be average versus Jonathan Taylor in this run game. Last week, they gave up 28 second-half points to Green Bay at home on primetime. What a performance, huh? Love threw for 360. The week before that was against Cincy. How about 342 against the stud, Joe Flacco? And then they also let Chase Brown have the best game of the season, had 108 rush yards, averaging 9.8 yards per attempt. This guy was averaging like 2.5 yards per attempt every single game. So I like the Colts to easily score 23 points here in this one. Next one, Lions team total over 23.5. They got to score 1 extra point here. But Lions at home are an absolute wagon on offense. Scored the 2nd most points at home at 36.7 per game. Put up 52 versus the Bears, an impressive 34 against a good Cleveland Browns defense. Put up 24 versus the Bucks before their bye week. Last week was their worst one. Still went over this. They're another offense that can dominate on the ground. Gibbs averaging over 5 yards per attempt. He had 136 rush yards last game versus a good Tampa Bay run defense. So, as we all know, Goff is better at home in a dome as well. But Lions have scored 24-plus points in 5 of the last 6 games now, and they're facing the Vikings defense. They are struggling. Flores does not have this team rolling right now on defense. Last 2 weeks, gave up 28 to Philly. Hurts beat him over the top consistently all day long. Gave up 37 to the Chargers. That's hard to do. Let Vidal run for 117. Allowed 77 yards to tight end Gadsden. I mean, it just was ugly all around. Their coverage has not been there in the secondary. This is the same Vikings defense. This is not the same Vikings defense we've been used to, and they've actually struggled versus the Lions. Last season, Lions scored 31 points in both of those games. Yes, the Lions offense was maybe a little bit better last year, but guess what? The Vikings defense was also better last year. So with cracks showing in the run game as well, it could be a long day for that defense. So I like these 2 awesome offenses to keep rolling. Give me the Colts team total over 22.5, Lions over 23.5. That is my second best bet. All right, this third one takes us out to Buffalo for the game of the weekend. The Bills host the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs minus 2.5. Total in this one is 52.5. My best bet, I almost made it 1 unit, but I'm going to stick to a half unit. Give me the Bills plus 2.5, minus 113 on FanDuel. I really don't understand this line. That doesn't mean it's a guaranteed win. I just don't understand the line. Yes, the Chiefs are solid. I'll give you that. But 2.5 point favorites on the road in Buffalo on a short week. This line, the look ahead line was like Buffalo -2, -2.5. Now we're moving 4.5, 5 points here. That just seems wild to me. So let's talk the Chiefs. They've won 3 in a row. Yes, they were all at home. They have played 3 straight home games. And oh, by the way, one was against Mariota and the struggling Commanders. The other one against the horrendous Raiders team. So let's pump the brakes a little. It doesn't mean they're not a good team, but it's not like they've just been dominating teams. Now, they did have one nice win against Detroit, but again, that's Goff playing outdoors in Kansas City. That's a tough one to win for them. But again, still a nice win against Detroit. Not going to take anything away from it. But the other two, again, all at home. Winning in Buffalo is going to be a whole new challenge. Injuries. Isaiah Pacheco, probably not going to play. Their right guard, Trey Smith, questionable to play. Marquise Brown, questionable. Chiefs have their weapons back. Obviously, got Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and all that. But the way to beat the Bills is on the ground. Chiefs are not a great running team at all. That's an understatement, especially without Pacheco here. It's going to be up to Kareem Hunt this game. Mahomes has lost 4 of his last 5 versus Buffalo in the regular season. We've talked about that over and over. The Chiefs defense has the 8th lowest quarterback pressure rate, just 17 sacks through 8 games so far. Average run defense. Again, you can get away with that when you're playing some bad teams at home like they have, but playing the reigning MVP will not be easy. Now, let's talk the Bills. Injury, big injury, Ed Oliver. That's obviously a big loss. So you don't want to have that happen, but they're also getting their solid players back. D-tackle Ogunjobi will be back. I think he's going to help that run defense. And then Milano. We've known he's one of their best defenders. He is going to be back this weekend, so that's going to be huge. Bills dominated a bad Panthers team last week. I get it. Struggled before that, losing 2 games before to New England and Atlanta. Obviously, New England is a very good team. Atlanta, we don't even know. They can beat good teams, lose to bad teams, whatever. But this is the game the Bills look forward to every season. By the way, in that New England game, we talked about it. 3 turnovers, still out-yarded them, things like that. But this is a team that can beat the Chiefs in the regular season. It's just the playoffs is a different story. But this is just a better spot. Bills have normal full week of rest. Chiefs are traveling for the first time since October 6th. That was their last road game. And what they do there, they lost to the Jaguars. The Chiefs are actually 1-2 on the road this season. So I think this line is just an overreaction. Now, listen, can the Chiefs win by 3? Would we all be just crazy surprised or anything? Absolutely not. But I just think it's an overreaction. It just feels like a Bills spot here. So give me the Bills plus 2.5. Maybe just take the money line if you want to take a chance here. But that is my third and final best bet on the video. Again, I may add one of those leans as well to the card or something completely different. If I do, it'll be in the pinned comments below. So that's what I got for you before we get out of here. Let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. The under 44 in the Saints and Rams for a half unit. Then the alt team total parlay. Let's make it 3, 4 in a row. I don't remember now. 1 unit play. Lions team total over 23.5. Colts over 22.5. And then the Bills plus 2.5 in the game of the week. Again, I was so close to making this a unit, but I'm going to go a half unit on that one. So that's what we got for the Week 9 best game bets. Again, player props and anytime touchdowns video will be coming out on Friday. Thank you guys for listening and for the support. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.